Oh my god, you guys. I am the worst YouTuber ever. Got my briefcase. I've got a cup of coffee. I'm trying to balance this all while I take you out the door, which I can't open because I have no free hands. So I think I'm going to have to pause this, and then you'll just rejoin me outside. Okay. That's what we're going to do. All right, guys, I have made it out the door. Haven't dropped anything, haven't lost anything yet, except maybe my marbles, but if that's all I've lost, I'm going to consider it a win. I haven't even said good morning, have I? Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh, and today we are going on another road trip, although this is not going to be like the the long vacation road trip that we took just last month. Today I'm going down to San Antonio for work, and this trip is going to be, which I do that frequently, so I don't often bring you along on those kind of things, but this trip is going to be, we're actually spending a couple days there, so we're going to be staying overnight in San Antonio. So I've got my suitcase, and I've packed myself up for a few days away from home. And the reason that I wanted to bring you guys along on this trip is because, if I can set things down without losing my coffee and everything, we're going to be taking the Rav. This is the car I always take on work trips because I'm like, hell no am I putting, work mileage on my GX. And the reason I thought it would be an interesting video to bring you along on this trip in the Rav is because I'll get to show you all. I get a lot of questions here on the channel about how this car works on trips when you are, you're going to be well outside your EV only range. And today's trip is going to be, or this whole trip I should say, is going to be way over that. It's probably going to be about 200-300 miles. So that is what I thought I would film today, kind of bring you guys along. Now, one thing I want to call out before we get out of the way here, just kind of big blanket disclaimer over top, is you do not, okay, hear me loud and clear. This is going to look really complicated because I like to be fully in control of what this car is doing at all times. You do not ever have to really, do what I'm going to show you in this video. If you want to set this car, in auto, let it manage everything, let it decide what it's doing at all times, like all the power to you. But because I'm familiar with where we're going, I'm familiar with the route we're going to be taking, and the hotel that we're going to be staying at actually has Tesla destination chargers, I can actually use my EV range on the drive today. So yeah, now before we hit the road here, let's go back, rewind a few hours to the gas station early this morning. I stopped at the gas station before I went to the gym this morning to fill up this car, and now let me show you some clips of that. Alright guys, here you join me at the gas station. I have put regular gas in here today instead of my usual non-ethanol gas because we're going to be using a bunch of it on the trip, on this trip, so I don't have to worry about shelf life or anything. I put 7.5 gallons in, and I'm trying to get to 3/4 of a tank of gas because we'll probably use about that much on this trip, maybe a little bit less. So yeah, let's go ahead, and when we get home, I will show you exactly what we are working with. Alright guys, well this is what happens in Austin. So I went to the gas station before I went to the gym this morning. It was a beautiful, clear sunrise, no problems whatsoever. And then while I was at the gym, all these clouds moved in and it poured, so we're gonna have to deal with that while driving today. But anyway, I wanted to show you, now that we are back home, we're not leaving just yet, but I wanted to show you, I filled up the gas tank to 3/4 tank. I know the needle kind of looks like from this angle that it's below 3/4, but there you can see we are right on the dot. Which means we have about 300 miles of hybrid range to go. It's like driving me nuts that it's $299 and not $300, but it's fine. That's going to go down anyhow. But anyway, this is what we will start the day with and start our trip to San Antonio with. And then the other thing I did was I cleared the trip A counter so that we can kind of keep an eye on how many miles we've done total, and then we'll kind of look, as we go at where the gas gauge is, where the different range figures are, and so forth. So anyway, I am still kind of disgusting right now, so I'm going to go in, take a shower, have my morning meetings, and then we will head out to San Antonio. Alright, so that is the state of our affairs. I will tell y'all a little bit more about what we're doing and how I'm, kind of running this as we go. But with that, get buckled in and let's hit the road. All right, guys, so on our way out to the highway, what I wanted to show you here is you can see we have taken a few miles off the EV range total, but I am still in EV mode, even though we are making our way out to the highway. And the reason I'm doing that is because, again, ultimately, I want to use up all my EV range on the way down. So I've locked the car in EV mode using the kind of the mode switch button, which is that right here. And that will keep us in EV mode ultimately until the EV range of this car runs out. And then obviously it'll revert to hybrid mode, and I'll show you when that happens. So yeah, we've got about 38 miles of projected range here in EV mode, and we'll just use that up as we go. Oh, one more thing really quickly, because I know if I don't mention it, someone's going to make a comment. For these behind the wheel gauge cluster shots, I have a little action camera mounted on this ridiculous arm thing that's anchored in the center console, so I can push it out of the way when I'm not filming it. But I'm not messing with my phone or holding a camera or anything like that while trying to drive a car, so don't worry, being safe. And actually this is way better anyway, because there's no way I'd be able to hold a camera still while trying to, steer and drive the car. Not sure how stable this is going to be, but I hope it comes out okay. Oh, and one more thing I want to note about EV mode, or using EV mode and driving on the electric motors at highway speeds. I don't know if everyone understands this, but when you use your electric motors to sustain high-speed highway driving, your range estimate, so whatever the car is saying that we have left, not usually that accurate. And the reason for that is, unlike gas engines, electric motors are far less efficient at sustaining high speeds like what we're doing here on the highway. So you may have noticed that I think when we got on the expressway, we had 33 miles of range left, and then here we've maybe only done about, I don't know, 5 to 10 miles, and we're already down at 19 miles of EV range. So it does make a pretty big difference using EV range or your EV motors on the highway. And that's why hybrids and EVs are, generally speaking, way more efficient in the city than they are on the highway, unlike a gas engine, which is more efficient on the highway than in the city. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right, guys, 1 mile left to empty. And it actually goes down to 0 first. What we're looking for are 3 dotted lines, and that means we are actually empty. So there we've gone down to 0, and in just a moment we should see 3 dotted lines, and that means that our battery is actually, or we have depleted the amount of battery that is reserved for EV only driving. Now, one thing though to note, okay, do you see the EV charge gauge? See how we're not actually at 0 charge down there? That's because that is the percentage that bar is deceptively big. It's about 10% of this battery that's held for hybrid vehicle operation. So even once your battery, your EV driving range is at 0, you'll still have some remaining battery charge in there, about 1.8 kilowatt hours for hybrid vehicle operation. All right, guys, and there we go. You see the 3 lines? That means we have absolutely no EV range left for driving. Though, again, same thing, we have our reserve for hybrid vehicle operation, and you see the car reverted by itself to hybrid mode because it knows that we have used up all of our EV driving range, and now it will operate here on the road for us as a standard Rav4 hybrid. Hey guys, so I wanted to show you really quickly, we just hit the 100-mile mark on our trip here today, and we are still over a half tank. We've got maybe 1 tick mark left to get to a half tank of gas, and we've done 100 miles, and as you can see, the car is calculating based on both the EV driving range and the hybrid driving range. We have done about 46 miles to the gallon on this drive, which is not bad at all, especially considering that we've done 100 miles today. And that is how, given that we were able to do 102 at this point miles on less than 1/4 tank of gas. That is how this Rav4 Prime has a theoretical range of about 450 miles. If you're driving really nicely, you could probably eke it a little bit higher than that as well. And that's what I really like about this Rav4 Prime, because unlike an EV, you know, I don't have to worry about, will there be a charger where, you know, when I get to my destination available? Will the car work with the charger that's there? All, you know, all that sort of thing. With this car, if there isn't a charger available at the mall or at my hotel or whatever, you know, I can just go put more gas in the tank and it runs as a hybrid perfectly happily for the rest of our trip or whatever driving I'm doing. And I never really have to worry about it. And at the same time, you know, I can real world get, you know, mid-40s MPG in this car, even though it's a relatively blocky, heavy crossover. Alright guys, here we go. Arriving at the mall, and I don't even know if there's a ton of construction going on. Oh no, I am in the right place. Okay, good. The cool thing about this mall, though, is there are a ton of Volta charging stations. And you've probably seen those at, you know, different shopping centers and stuff. It's not like ChargePoint. It's not a DC fast charger, which this car can't do anyway. It is a standard level 2 charger, but since we're going to be here for a bit, grabbing lunch and, you know, kind of wandering around a bit, we'll plug in and see how much range we get. Okay, I have located a Volta charging station, and there's a Pacifica plug-in hybrid connected to that one. But it looks like the one over here is open, so let's go ahead and take this. And these are always so fun because you have to figure out what side the car's on and then be able to get into it. Alright, let's hope this charging station is working. And it appears to be working because we've got the green light. And is this going to tell me anything about... I guess not. Okay, anyway. It looks like we are good to go. Let's just check with the instrument cluster. Alright guys, well we are at the mall. I'm talking kind of quietly because it's quiet here. There's no one really around. The charger I found, I guess Volta is now called Shell Recharge, which is interesting. You know, that it got like a brand behind it. Maybe Shell bought Volta. I'm not really sure, but anyway, that is a level 2 public charger, and the Rav4 Prime will charge to full in about 4 hours. Now, we're not spending that time here, obviously. We're just browsing around and getting lunch. But the thing about the charger that I parked at is it's quite a ways away from the restaurant area. So in the meantime, we're going to walk through the mall, which is never a problem. Go find lunch, let the car charge, and then once we're done with lunch, we will head on out to the hotel and finish charging there. Maybe, actually, depending on how much charge we can get while we're here, may or may not be enough to even get us to the hotel on EV mode. We'll see. So yeah, in the meantime, let's go find lunch. Guys, well, it has been an hour exactly. or rather an hour and 3 minutes, but at least, you know, a total of an hour since we plugged the car in. So if you divide the 4 hours that the car takes to charge by the 45 or so miles that we should get at full, we should have about 11 miles of range, and the hotel is about 13 to 15 miles from here. So in theory, if all went well, and we'll see what we get or what we find when we get back to the car, we should have enough range to almost do the drive to the hotel on electric only range. All right, guys, here we are back at the car. I think it charged the whole time. Let's put this back. All right. Close this guy up here and see how much range we got. Boy, it is hot here. Okay, charging stopped. That means, excuse me, it was charging the whole time. Moment of truth. All right, 10 miles. A little less than I was expecting, but not bad. Oh my god, it is hot in here, you guys. Not bad. We are pulling into the hotel. We're staying at the Hyatt Regency Hill Country. Really nice hotel here. Oh, I always forget. I'm gonna have to stop at the guard stand so that they'll let me in. And then after that, we will go and find the Tesla destination chargers. So she said that the EV chargers are locked, which is totally different than the last time I was here. So I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to show you. What does this say? Okay, hold on. To charge your vehicle, please see valet at the front. This is another thing with EV ownership. Let me grab some video of what I'm seeing here. This is another problem with EV ownership. You know, charging in public is kind of is an issue. All right, well, I guess we have to go see the valet, but I'd like to be able to do this myself so I can show you how the Tesla adapter works. But let's go to the valet and see what they say. Hello, good, how are you?
Good.
I have a question about using your EV chargers.
Okay.
It says you need to see the valet.
Yes, sir. So we put them on and take them off. Or our EV chargers.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Our EV chargers actually.
Oh yeah, that is.
Are all of them down, or is just the?
No, it's just the universal chargers. So our Tesla's chargers are. Well, I know one of them is working right now. Our Tesla charger was down, and then our only one that worked was the universal.
Got it.
So we've been.
And now you're the other way around.
Yes,
Okay. All right. Thank you. Literally. Okay, guys. Well, I just cleaned up a little bit. Hopefully I look a little bit less haggard, but I never not look haggard, so it's fine. Let me explain to you what happened, because I'm not sure how much of that you caught or how much I left in the final edit of whatever this video becomes. So what happened was, first of all, the hotel has changed its policy since I was last here, and now if you want to charge your vehicle while you're here, you have to go through the valet, which means you have to pay for valet parking and tip the valet. I have no problem with that, but it's an added expense that didn't exist before. Now, I understand that because the thing that can kind of happen with EVs and such at hotels is a lot of times you'll have people, get to the hotel, plug their car in, forget about it, right? And then their car is sitting there fully charged, and other people want to use the charger, but hey, guess what? The person, whoever owns the car that's sitting there, they're God knows where, and so now the charger is, no one can use it. So I understand the valet doing it because it means that they can kind of monitor the cars as a car is fully charged. They can take it off the charger, go park it somewhere else, and then, put someone else's car on. So I go to the valet, right? Because it said, go see the valet. So I did. Went up, and the woman there was like, oh, our EV chargers are broken. And I was like, oh, okay. Perfect example of like why I'm glad I have a plug-in hybrid, because EV chargers are broken, and so charging for me is not critical, right? Like it would be for an actual EV. So I was like, all right. So I drove away, and then as I was driving away from the curb, it occurred to me, I was like, wait, the average person out there, and I mean no disrespect to anyone out there or the woman who was, at the valet stand, but the average person sees my car, right, and goes, it's a Toyota, it's not a Tesla, so it needs the standard J1772 plug, right? And that occurred to me in my head. So as I was driving away, so I went back around and I was like, hey, wait a minute, can I just ask, is it just the standard universal plug that's broken, or are the Tesla ones broken as well? Like, are the Tesla ones working? And she goes, oh, the Tesla ones are working, absolutely. And I was like, oh, because I have an adapter for destination charger so that my car can charge on either standard J1772 or the Tesla destination charger. And she was like, oh, yeah, well, the Tesla ones are working. She goes, but Toyotas can't use that thing. And I'm like, I get that, but I have an adapter. and we kind of went around in circles, and that's what I probably edited out just because for respect. But we went around in circles, and I was kind of explaining, like, she goes, I've never seen that work. And I'm like, well, it does, because I've done it and I have the adapter. Like, I'm telling you it works. It's my car. I would know. Went around in circles a few more times, and she's like, okay, we can try it. Fine. I think she just wanted me to go away. So they took my car. We'll see if it charges, because the thing about the Tesla destination, the adapter that I have, and that is the case with any adapter you get out there, is, and this is why I was hoping to be able to demonstrate it for you guys, is, so the adapter, the first thing you do is you plug the charging cable, okay, into the adapter. You wait about 30 seconds to a minute, because there's a handshake that has to happen between the chip and stuff in the adapter and the Tesla plug itself. You can't just plug the adapter right into the charging cable and then go right into your car all in 5 seconds. So I was explaining that to her and the guy that was actually going to take the valet driver, and the look on their face was kind of like, huh? And again, no disrespect, but this whole situation is very emblematic of the state of EV, just kind of adoption and understanding and knowledge here in 2024. And, this is another reason I really like a plug-in hybrid over a full EV is, if they can't figure it out, right? So if they can't figure it out and it doesn't work, and they aren't able to charge it, it's fine. I can drive back to Austin and do this whole trip on the hybrid engine only, and I am perfectly fine. But if I were to, have driven here in an EV and their chargers weren't working, I would kind of be, I might be a little SOL depending on how much range I needed, how much range I had when I got here, and how much range I needed to do the rest of my trip. So anyway, I have a few meetings for the rest of the day. I'll check in with you later, and we'll see if the car gets charged or not. I honestly have no idea what to expect given that. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, I just finished my last meeting of the day, and I thought, since it's still quite bright out, what we could do is take a stroll and see if we can walk over toward where the EV chargers are and see if the Rav is plugged in and if they were able to figure it out. And that'll also allow us to get some steps in, get some exercise, which is always hard to do, when you're traveling for work. So yeah, let's head over there, see what we can see. And this hotel is really, really beautiful as well. So if nothing else, maybe you'll enjoy that. I think we might be in luck. I see the Rav4 parked in one of the Tesla spaces. So let's see if it is charging. All right, guys, here we are. Here's the car. They did put it, oh, sorry for the wind noise. Lots going on. Looks like they got it Oh, perfect. Okay, so here is, you can see we're hooked up to a Tesla destination, a very beat up Tesla destination charger. This is exactly what we were looking at earlier. And you can see the Tesla plug here connected to, sorry for the wind noise, I hope it's not too bothersome, connected to my adapter, which is this guy here, and it is in fact charging the car. And what I was saying earlier, I don't know if it fully made sense, but what you have to do is you have to plug the Tesla cord into the adapter, wait about 30 minutes before plugging it into the car, because these two pieces have to handshake first, then you can plug it into the car, and like what we're seeing here with the light there, all should be good. Now, I don't have the key because Valet has the key, but if we were to look inside the car, it's been sitting here for about probably 2 to 3 hours, so it's probably not fully charged yet, but by 6 o'clock this evening or so, it should be fully charged. And now that the hotel knows what to do with this Rav4 Prime, they should be able to charge it no problem, when we bring it back tomorrow evening. And then we should have some charge then when we leave back to Austin Thursday morning. Hey guys, wanted to give you a quick update. It is a little after 9:30 in the evening, so it's rather late at night. But we just got back from dinner, and I'm very happy to report that when they brought the car around, I wanted to see if it had charged, and if so, how much it had charged. So the valet brings it around, we get in the car, and I was like, oh, there's 40 miles of range, which is, just shy of a full charge, which makes sense because it was on the charger for, just under 4 hours, and that is how long my Rav4 Prime takes to charge with the 3.3 kilowatt onboard charger on a level 2 charger, which is what the Tesla destination charger that it was plugged into was. So that worked out perfectly, and where we went to dinner was in downtown San Antonio on the Riverwalk. Really great Mexican place called Acenar. I'm totally pronouncing that wrong. I apologize. I'll show you on the map kind of what it was. It wasn't a 40-mile round trip, but like I said earlier in the video, when you're doing freeway driving in the Rav4 Prime, it kind of zaps your range. And so when we got back to the hotel, I think we had maybe 3 miles left or something like that. So it worked out perfectly though, because I could do the entire, drive to dinner and back with 4 people in the car, all on EV range. And when we got back to the hotel, same guy came to, took the car from me, and I said, hey, would you mind plugging it in again? Because I have to make the most of my $47, right? So anyway, that was the evening, and the reason I didn't record any of this, I don't want to put a camera in people's faces, especially my coworkers' faces. But anyway, I'll see if I can grab footage off the dash cam of our drive there and back. I will do that. And then, yeah, I will, other than that, I will see you probably Thursday morning. Hey guys, well, it is Wednesday evening. I know I said I wasn't going to check in with y'all until Thursday morning, but I wanted to just kind of wanted to share a few things with you. So first of all, I had a great day. These kind of off-site long days at the op centers, they're always so much fun. But very long days. It's just after 10 o'clock, and I just got back into my room from dinner. Had an amazing time this evening at an area of San Antonio that I've actually never been to before. It's the Old Pearl Brewery, if any of you know that, right near the Hotel Emma. So cool. There's a whole new market there that we were told just opened up, called the Pullman Market. Kind of reminds me of like a Texas version of Erewhon, if any of you are LA people and you know what that is. Such a cool place, huge selection of artisanal goods, lots of locally made products, and just kind of, everything you could imagine. Lots of really wonderful home things too. So, very much like Erewhon in that respect. It's not just a grocery store or market, but there's a lot of home and beauty and things that you just can't find anywhere. It would be a great place to get gifts too. And then they've got this incredible beautiful kind of like wine and beer section that almost looks like some, you know, incredible bookstore is kind of how that whole section is laid out on shelves, and just incredible. And you're seeing footage of that here in the video. Really, really cool, and just such a cool area around there, which I've never really come to San Antonio to explore. So that was really cool to get to see. And highly recommend if you are ever in the San Antonio area, definitely go check that out. There's so much great food. We went to this great kind of Asian fusion restaurant, which is probably not the right way to describe it, but it's called Favorite Daughter. I'll put a picture and the name of the restaurant in the video here. Great food, huge portions too. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to share though is, so I didn't end up driving today, so I don't have any update from the Rav, but my coworker who watches some of my nonsense here on this channel, recently bought, and congratulations to him, a 2024 Rav4 Hybrid SE. So not the Prime, just the Hybrid. The thing about his car though, and one of the reasons I wanted to pop on and share this is, oddly enough, his car came from Japan. It's got a J VIN, and that means it comes from the Takaoka plant. So same place that our Rav4 Prime comes from, which is really cool and kind of odd because I've started to see a lot of these kind of like mid-trim Rav4 and NXs coming from Japan. So I have another viewer who lives in Houston who bought a 2024 NX 350H. So same thing, not the plug-in hybrid, same model I owned. Mine came from Cambridge. For some reason, my viewers in Houston actually came from Japan, and his didn't come from Takaoka. It came from the Tahara plant. So not entirely sure what's going on with Toyota, but it does appear that a lot of these RAV4s and NXs are coming from Japan, which is really great because, as you guys know, as I've said and others have said here on YouTube, it's not that North American cars are lower quality by any stretch, but the fit and finish, the body panel alignment, the materials overall, the paint job on Japanese-made Toyota and Lexus products tends to be better than US and Canada-made products. So anyway, this is our last night here in San Antonio. So tomorrow I will be getting the Rav back from valet. I did make sure that I asked them to charge it. So again, we'll see if they came through. I'm gonna get showered and probably turn in a little bit early here tonight. Thank you guys so much. I don't know how fun this video is gonna be, but I always appreciate having you here with me. And I will see you tomorrow morning. Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday morning, which means it's our last morning here. Today we have a few meetings to attend and things at the office. But after that, we will leave from there to drive home to Austin. My goodness, I have I don't know, the worst allergies in the world, and Texas in the fall is like when everything gets triggered, so pardon my voice. But anyhow, today we are heading back to Austin, and in just a bit we will head down to the valet stand to get the car, and we'll see when we get the car if the valet team did in fact plug it in again sometime between like yesterday and last night. And I'm hoping that we will have a full, like at least 40 miles of range, because that'll allow us to do, that'll actually allow us to basically do the drive to our ops center here, which is not that far from the hotel, and then kind of get us, I think, probably to the kind of like the San Antonio city limit on the freeway. Now, I also wanted to touch on, and I may try to show you all on the drive home a little bit. I want to touch on charge mode because I actually just saw a comment come through on a video this morning that said, oh, you're wrong, you can put it in charge mode and blah, 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 blah. And there is a charge mode in the car. It does essentially keep the gas engine on in order to both drive the car and act as a generator for the car so that it can, you know, kind of charge the battery up a little bit while you're driving on the gas engine. Here's my problem with charge mode in the Rav4 Prime. And I've tested this, okay? I I don't know if ours doesn't work right or what, but it takes so long for that, because it's basically using the engine to trickle charge the battery. At least that's what it seems like. So I actually never use charge mode because I'm like, one, okay, if I have to drive that long, right, with the gas engine running, I'm burning up way more gas than I am recouping EV range. And like, to me, that's kind of pointless. Like, why am I gonna, like, because in charge mode, the engine will literally stay on because it's working as a generator. And so you're not actually, in that case, you do ultimately drive, your car is ultimately a gas Rav. And so I don't find the charge mode to be useful at all. Maybe you do. Maybe you found a way to make it work for you. I have not. I do not use it because I would rather, I don't want to burn gas just to charge a battery when I can drive it as a hybrid. And again, like, you know, if I'm going home or to my destination, I can just plug it in there and get, you know, and use somebody, you know, use somebody else's electricity to charge the car back up in, you know, in way faster a time than if I was trying to recharge the EV battery with the gas engine. So anyway, let's go ahead, get our stuff packed up, check out, and get the Rav. All right, guys. Well, I've got the car back, and check it out. They did, in fact, charge it at some point. So, sorry, I was out of the car, so I was doing that. So look, we've got full charge, 41 miles of range on EV mode. We have 107. We've done 176 miles in total on this trip, and look at this. The fuel gauge, as you can see, is still we're just one under the halfway mark. Hey guys, I'm pulled off to the side of the hotel drive, and people are looking at me like this guy's insane. And I am insane. But I wanted to show you, since I have a few minutes, I wanted to show you the Tesla adapter, since I didn't get to show you this. You know, when we arrived here, because I didn't get to plug it in, the valet had to do it. Anyway, this is the adapter that you saw in the video, and that they have been using to charge my car, and that I use to charge my car whenever we go somewhere that has a destination charger. On the bottom end of the adapter, we have a female Tesla port, and you can see that's exactly the same thing. This is exactly the same port you have like on any Tesla car, and then it has a J1772 standard, you know, universal plug on the front. So Tesla destination charger cord goes in this way, and then this plugs, that whole thing, plug, you know, cable and adapter can then plug into my Rav4 Prime this way with the male J1772 port. That said, do not think that you can use this to fast charge your EV or PHEV, because as you may know, if you look at the front of this thing, there's only a standard J1772 port. We don't have the additional two prongs here for you know, for level 3 DC fast charging an EV or something like a Mitsubishi Outlander. And so this will only do level 2 charging. I don't really know what would happen if you tried to connect this to a Tesla supercharger and then you tried to plug your car in. It might, I would not recommend doing that. I wouldn't even recommend experimenting with that. I know that makes this thing sound really complex. It's not that complex. This is, you can think of this adapter, or any of these adapters, kind of like, you guys remember when Apple went from like the lightning, or the 30 pin connector on your iPhone down to a lightning cable, or when we went from like USB-A to USB-C. This is basically that same kind of adapter, just in giant automotive form. Okay, with that, now let's head on into the office. We've got a few more sessions today, and then I will rejoin you when we head back to Austin. All right, guys, well, here we go. Leaving our ops center. We had a great couple days of meetings and team gatherings and doing some research with our people. That is my job. I never really get too much into my job, just for, you know, keeping things, my private life private. But it's always so nice to come to our ops center here in San Antonio. Now we are headed back to Austin, and we have 38 miles of range remaining, which is fantastic. It looks like we've got 2 hours and 2 minutes to our back home to Austin. There's always no matter what time of day you travel in this corridor, there's always some traffic or something going on. So anyway, sit back, get comfy, and I'll just kind of keep you informed on how the Rav is doing in range and all that sort of thing as we go. Alright guys, we have 1 mile of range left, and we are well outside the city of San Antonio at this point, so I'm quite happy with that, because like I said earlier, I was hoping to get out of the city of San Antonio, on pure EV power. So in just a bit here, we will have run through the amount of battery charge that's reserved for EV only driving range, and this car will revert to a hybrid at that point. There you can see it ticked over to 0, and we're waiting again for those 3 bars. And once we get those 3 bars, we will revert to hybrid mode for the rest of our journey back home to Austin, which is no problem at all. Now, we are going to be taking the 130 toll. That is the 85 mile an hour road. So there's a good possibility we'll be doing like 95 or even higher than that, on that stretch. And that's going to kill our hybrid efficiency as well, because, no car is going to be efficient at 95 or 100 miles an hour. So we'll see what we end up with when we get home back to Austin, and I will of course report back on that at that point. And there we go. You see the EV counter ticked over to the 3 lines, and the car switched over to hybrid vehicle mode because we don't have any EV only driving range left. Alright guys, one more thing about this car always being some kind of hybrid. So we're in a slowdown right now because I think there's some kind of accident up there or whatever. And even though I have exhausted my EV only driving range, can you see that? Because we're just crawling along here, basically coasting, the car is in EV mode, so I'm not using gas, even though, again, I have technically 0 miles of EV range. And you don't need to worry about it, because once your EV range is done, it becomes a standard hybrid. And in this kind of driving, a standard Toyota hybrid can run as an EV. Alright guys, and here we go, hitting 130. The speed limit is 85 miles an hour. And yeah, I love it out here. I consider California home. Hate on me all you want for that, I don't care. California will forever be my home. But if I had to move back to Los Angeles and deal with LA traffic on the 405, the 110, those are my old stomping grounds, I would kill myself. I just cannot deal with that, because I need to be like, there's a lot of things I don't like about Texas, a lot. The roads and the freeways, and the fact that we can do 100 miles an hour on the freeway is not one of them. And that's one of my favorite parts of doing this drive from Austin to San Antonio, is getting to do the 130 sprint. So yeah. Oh, I also want to make one thing clear in this video. I am not trying to have like an eco run here, okay? So I'm not like actively seeking the best fuel economy possible. I want to get home. So I just want to make that clear. When you see the final MPG numbers, here in this video, like when we get back to Austin and we pull into the driveway, just keep that in mind. Like if you are a slow driver, a nice driver, you don't mind adding half an hour to your time to get the, your trip time to get the best MPG, you can do way, way, way better than I'm doing. I like to drive fast and I want to get home. So I'm kind of driving, like a Texan or a Californian or whatever. So yeah, just disclaimer. And just like that, we are back in the city limits of Austin. That is why I love the 130, because, when you can do 95 miles an hour the whole way, your trip goes by like that. So, yeah. Anyway, we've got a little bit of a ways to go because we live like kind of in the north end of Austin. So we will just head on back home and I will catch up with you guys when we get there. Alright guys, well here we are back at home. It was a great trip back, and I'll show you what I'm seeing in the gauge cluster here in a second, but all the numbers are actually better than I thought they would be, even with our 95 mile an hour driving on the tollway back up to Austin, and some of the traffic that we encountered in San Antonio. I'm actually really impressed with the final numbers that we have here, and everything you've seen in this video is why I love this car so much. And I wouldn't want to trade it in for a Rav hybrid, and I also wouldn't want to trade it in for an EV. So anyway, let me show you the gauge cluster numbers here, and then we'll wrap up the video. All right, here are the final numbers from the gauge cluster. So as you can see here, we did, even with all that, high-speed freeway driving, we did 41.7 mpg on the total trip from the Ops Center in San Antonio back to our driveway. And that's pretty good. I was actually expecting that to be in the 30s because of, the fact that we spent the last hour or so doing, 95 miles an hour on the freeway. The other thing I was expecting to be lower than it is the fuel level over here. So we are exactly on 1/4 tank. And I was expecting it to actually be a little bit lower than that. And if you remember, of course, when we set off on Tuesday, we didn't start with a full tank. We started with 3/4 tank. So we used exactly half a tank of gas, which in this car is probably about, I want to say 5 to 6 gallons of gas. And so to be able to have done 313 miles on half a tank of gas, that's pretty good. And actually, if we look at that 41.7 number on the highway in hybrid mode, so, no EV range to speak of, this car is rated to get 35 miles to the gallon. And we obviously did use a lot of electric range in getting out of San Antonio. However, we did a lot of really high-speed highway driving. So the fact that we were able to get 41.7 mpg total is really, really good. So yeah, could not be happier with this Rav4 Prime. I love this car so much. I love everything about driving it. I love the way it can run. There's a time and a place, right, for every kind of car. There's a time and a place for an EV. There's a time and a place for a big, beautiful V8. And there is a time and a place, in my opinion, for a plug-in hybrid like this. I'm going to end it there. I hope that this I get so many questions about, road tripping in the Rav Prime, and that's why I wanted to do this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope it answered a lot of the questions that you all have had that I haven't answered in my many, many, many other videos. If you still have questions, as always, leave them downstairs. Email me at the email that you see here on screen. So many videos like this one started off as emails that I got at that email. So thank you guys again for watching. I'm gonna go plug this car in, unload all my stuff, and that way it'll be charged up for the next time we head out. So until then, I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great one and take care. Hey guys, before we part ways here, I've got one more clip for you. So it's been about 5 or 6 days since I got back from San Antonio, and since we got back, I've been actively trying to run my tank down, because as you saw in the last clip, we got home with a 1/4 tank, and I wasn't expecting that. So I've been trying to run this thing down, because what I want to do is fill this car back up with my non-ethanol, the non-ethanol gas I normally use in this car. And the thing with non-ethanol gas is you want to try to avoid mixing different fuel types as much as you can. So you wouldn't want to put, half a tank of non-ethanol gas with half a tank of ethanol gas. So I tried to run this tank down as much as I could. The other thing I wanted to show you here in this clip, though, is, do you see down here 431 miles? This is the same trip computer that we had running on our trip. And so, when we got home, I think we had done about 310 miles. And, here we are now, we've done 120 more than that, all on just 1/4 tank of gas. And that's how this car, this Rav4 Prime, even in hybrid mode, using your EV range just here and there, you have a theoretical range on this car of anywhere between on a single tank of gas of 700 to 1,000 miles. It's literally insane. And that's one of the other things I really like about this Prime is, with certain EVs, you do have some degree of range anxiety. Like we had a Solterra in the driveway just a couple days ago. And that thing has a real world range on one tank of 180 to 200 miles. This car, it's almost the opposite problem. Like, I've been actively like trying to force this car to use as much gas as I could, and even still, it's like, you know, it just wants to go on and on and on and on and on. So yeah, love this car. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, insightful. I will catch you in the next one. Have a great one, and take care.